Hi, I'm Christopher Stewart. What is veil acting? You know, I get asked this question so many times in life. It's silly. And it's the funniest thing about it is asking someone what is veil acting is kind of like asking an engineer, how do you build an airplane? It's not a question you can just say, you do this. Oh, okay, thank you, now I know. Okay, which is quite often what I get. And you have to understand that it's because most actors actually are Rorschach. And for a Rorschach actor, the answer to everything is, I don't think about it, I just do it. For a Rorschach actor, they want a fast response. They want to, well, do this, do that, do this, do that, and now you understand. And that's not what veil acting is. Veil acting is classical. It goes way back to God knows how many centuries. I mean, people started creating the concept of veil acting probably way back in Sumeria before they even started acting in theaters in Greece. So you have to understand just how difficult it is to answer that kind of a question. The concept of veils, you have to think about it from a completely different perspective. You have first veil. First veil is transparent. So how do you create a transparency? Well, some people don't even think about it, they just are transparent. I mean, that's a very funny way of putting it, but it's true, okay? You know, if you think about when you're in school, you always think about the labels that people put on everybody in grade school, high school, things like the plastic Barbie doll, the jock, the this, the that. That's part of transparent veil, okay? When you think about how to be transparent on screen and how to create an effective transparent veil, there are two differences. One is being transparent, which is things like, I'm serious. I got to remember to be serious. I have to remember I'm supposed to be serious. I have to be serious. I have to look serious. I have to do everything serious. Okay? That's one thing. Then you have the constant repetition of lines in your head. I got to remember the script. I got to remember the script. I got to remember the script. And that is what you're projecting because that's what you're thinking. That's what's constantly in you. Because it's constantly in you, everyone can see it. Okay? Now, to step back from this, you have to create a transparency. In creating a transparency, what you're doing is saying, what am I thinking about? And then you go into things like, oh, I really don't like that person. Oh man, that person's so attractive, I want them in bed like now. What can I even do to get them in bed? Okay, you know, and that kind of thing, where you're actually thinking about feelings and emotions. Now, to create transparency, those don't actually have to be yours. You can just sort of invent it, which is what the actors of old did. You get Errol Flynn and some of the actors he worked with, Alan Hale, who I worked with in a few films before he retired, Olivia de Havilland, who I worked with in a few films before she retired. When you start working with actors like that, you start understanding the concept of invented transparency. And invented transparency is more of a concept of, what do I want you, the viewer, to believe I'm thinking? Which is a very difficult concept, but it's something that you have to really kind of take into yourself and kind of just really explore. It's more of a concept of, I want you to understand what I'm feeling about this or that. Even if it's something simple, like, I like the color of her dress. And I want you to understand I like the color of her dress. Which is a very difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of time to really work into that and to project it to make sure that the viewer is seeing it, to understand that the viewer wants to understand this. That's the first level of transparency. That's transparent veil. Now for translucent veil, you're taking a further step back. You're doing something like, how does the character feel? Okay? You're in the world, you're in the script, you don't care about anything else. You don't care about where the cameras are, you don't care about what the director said. You are completely in your world. And you're thinking like Legolas sitting in a tree. What does the wind feel like? Oh God, I'm so glad to be away from my father. Oh, I'd like to just shoot him. Okay? That's creating your first level of translucency, because you're into what does the character feel? How is the character doing things? And you want the viewer to understand that this is what the character is feeling. So you want the viewer to understand how the character feels. Third veil is completely opaque. Now, how do you create something completely opaque? You start by doing something like understanding all the previous layers. Okay? You understand that this is how you feel. You understand that this is how the character feels. You understand this is how the character should feel. You understand that this is what the character is trying to present to you, the audience. Then you bring up something from your past that matches. So that, and it's always been, I mean, you don't have to technically use your direct past. You could use the past of someone you know. You could say, I remember a conversation with this girl and all of this kind of thing happened in her life, or that guy and all of the things that happened in his life. And you're bringing into a memory, okay? And then you're going into how you personally feel either about that memory or how you felt at that time when you were doing that kind of thing, okay? And then you create a complete opaque because you're projecting your feelings from a time past combined with the feelings of the character. So you have how the character felt and how you felt, and it's matching, it's meshing together. And then you're projecting a complete opaque that is such a believable character that people don't even realize they're watching a movie. You have Legolas and the problems with his father. Now, I don't remember specific lines from the film, but you could just imagine how Legolas would feel about his father saying something to him like, I never want you to see Talia again. And he would go, no! And then you get it. Okay? And that's kind of Vale. That's how you create a complete opaque.